Hello, my name is Brian Meiberg. We at one of our silage trials where we do yearly analysis on different cultivars that we bring into the market. And today Richard Venter is with us. He's an international silage consultant. His company is XI Unlimited, and he provides us guidance and information based on our silage results and silage planning. And today I just want to give a bit of feedback about what we've been experiencing or generating some data. I just want to get some feedback on that from your side. So firstly, we distinguish what should be a good silage or good quality silage. And if you can explain what we've been discussing and what we're looking for in good silage.
You know, there's always that quantity versus quality discussion as far as silage, and on most farms it's just quantity per hectare that gets singled out as a parameter. I think we determined that it's really much more than that, and quantity just ticks the first box, but quantity should also be standardized to 35% dry matter, because a wet early cut silage can appear to be very high on the tons, but it's just water that you've harvested extra. So I think quantity is the first point, and it needs to be standardized at 35% dry matter. The next point then is quality, and we've decided to use TDN, total digestible nutrients, as a comparative tool because it's very suitable for that. It's a formula that binds together all the important nutritional parameters as well as the digestibility of those different fractions to really tell you something about how utilizable is this silage as a whole through the animal in converting that into production. And that brings us to the last question: how do you incorporate quantity and quality? And we did that through determining the milk potential per hectare. So this is not about milk per se. Milk is just a spaceholder here for a production parameter. It could be meat, it could be wool, whatever you want to produce on your farm. But it brings back that whole total system, that quality in a production output back to the hectares that you've planted. And I think that's an important definition. I also think it's important when you do silage work that you need to work through strict protocols, and that you need to do like what we do, repetitions on the silage, analyze them properly, and then have the stats done on the data. And that's critical for the success of the data set.
So then after we've generated all this data through the protocol, we've been seeing very interesting observations, and one of the observations we have seen this past year is that there's definitely an influence of genetics, meaning speed genetics, so if you go versus quick versus medium versus long. And I just wanted to ask you to take it all up in a nutshell. What was your observation on all the data that we've been seeing this far?
I think generally speaking we see that the quicker growers wants to be in higher populations and ideally under irrigation, and also you get better results with the slower growers under slightly lower populations under dryland conditions. But I think to summarize it, if you look at the Southern African silage market, it's mostly under dryland conditions. If you look at the hectares and the total tons, and then you would want a slightly slower grower under a medium type population should probably give you the best result based on our data.
Thank you. I think that's a very important point to make, because as grain we always say there's an optimum planting population for either a broad spectrum of varieties based on your environment, and I think we've been seeing it in silage as well, and I think it's one thing we need to pay attention even more so as genetics getting or improving. And then thirdly, some interactions that we've been seeing on, especially to the plant density and the quality of it. What did we see with plant density and starch and plant density and NDF? What was your take on that?
I think starch remains one of the key aspects of a maize plant. You know, the absolute ability to produce starch per hectare, which is really the reason why we do maize silage in the first place, I guess. And it was interesting to see that as plant density continued to increase, starch content also continued to increase. So I think that's breaking a couple of perceptions out there about the bulk that you get when you do higher planting densities.
Yes.
Our data shows that the starch keeps up with that.
Mm.
And then NDF we use as a fiber parameter. NDF is neutral detergent fiber. And it's just one of those nice parameters to use as a comparison between different cultivars, as it's a key fiber parameter and also quite utilizable by the animal. So there we saw an opposite effect on the dry land and irrigation conditions as far as planting density, and that is that on the dry land, as the planting density increased, the NDF also increased, but under irrigation, as the planting density increased, NDF decreased,
Okay.
which is very positive for what we can do under irrigation. And then the last point about the NDF is also very positive, and that is that as NDF continues to go up, the higher level, we also find higher digestibility of NDF. So that's also very positive, and it means that you don't always just have to look blindly at a number on a piece of paper where you've done an analysis and you find a high NDF value. We need to look at the digestibility as well. And from our trials, it appears as if the digestibility keep on improving at the higher fiber NDF levels.
Thanks, Richard. We really appreciate all the effort you've been doing with us and the time you've been spending with us. We really enjoy your knowledge and your excitement on the silage part of mealies. So yeah, if there's any other questions or any other questions surrounding silage, we'll tag you in the video, and then we're happy to make contact with you. And then if there's any other variety specific information needed, like we chatted about plant population in this video, you're more than welcome to contact your agronomist or your area manager or even agent to refer you to the right person to give info about it. Thanks for watching, and keep safe.